Welcome back. My marriage is not perfect. I'm not a relationship guru, but what I do know is what I know about my marriage and what worked. Here we are again. Today, this one's going to be really good. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. We're going to talk about know what you will and will not do in a relationship. Now let me explain what I mean by that. Now I got to dig my heels in on this one because I need you to hear this. A lot of times we get into relationships, we get caught up in the newness, getting to know the person, which is important, putting on our best face, our best behavior, the dinners, the flowers, the candy, and being able to sit and tell our girlfriends about this new guy or telling our fellas, about this new lady that we just met and we think she's the one and so on and so forth, and you think he's the one. That's real good and that is real cute. But let's get real serious, okay? Let's get real serious. Know what you will and what you will not do. Now, I'm not talking about anything negative in these series of videos, anything violent. If you're in an abusive situation, please seek help. I'm talking about, a healthy relationship that might have a few little flaws. But here's what's important. So I got to read my notes on this one because I got to make sure y'all get all of this. So know what you will and what you will not do. So when I started dating, me and my husband started dating, I was very clear, very, very clear. I said, I'm going to tell you this. I think we were dating and we started getting to that serious conversation about marriage. He hadn't proposed yet. And I said to him, well, you know what? I'm all for that. And I would love to get married. I said, but I just want to make sure that you understand something before we get into a relationship. I don't like to do laundry, but I will. I don't like to do dishes, but I will. I don't like to clean the bathrooms, but I will. I don't like ironing, but I will. And you know what, ladies, what worked out for me? He loved every bit of that. He loved every bit of it. And I was like, whoa, this is just absolutely awesome. I mean, my husband even loves to sew. So like whenever things needed to be sewn, if it had a hole or needed a hem or this, that, and the other, he did that. I'm telling you, God really blessed me with one. He really blessed me. And he was okay with that. So here I am 29 years later in our marriage. If I decide that I don't want to do the dishes or clean the bathroom or iron the laundry, because he has a particular way he likes to do laundry. Now, my husband just didn't iron laundry. He just didn't do the laundry. He took it out, shook it, hung it across something, and then he would iron it and then put it on everyone's bed for them to put away. Talk about magical. Magical. Absolutely loved it. So now if I don't do laundry, do dishes, or clean the bathroom, or whatever, those things will get done. And he doesn't have any type of beef about it because we've already talked about it. So, and I think about it because I said, I was in my early 20s when we started dating. And I guess I was just wise really early. There was something that was already in me that just knew that I need to get this stuff clear. So have the conversations early in the dating phase. This is also like the discovery phase. It's cool that, they have a nice car, they got a nice job, and they make this figure and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But the little day-to-day things that help to make the marriage move and progress are the things that you need to have a conversation about. So here are some things. I'm going to give you this list. So I hope you have a pen and paper nearby, or you just have to go back and rewind the video. Have conversations early about housework, like I just said. Employment, who will work and who will stay home. There's some people that, they enter into a marriage, they want to be a stay-at-home parent, or someone may be going to school or finishing school or starting a business. Entrepreneurship is very big nowadays. And so have those conversations. Well, how is this going to work? Who's going to stay home? How does that work with that person staying home? You gotta dig deep. You gotta dig through all of these different conversations. Having children. Are we equal in wanting to have children? That's a very important question. Very important question, because if you happen to, whether you plan or halfway plan or you have a oops, everybody's got to be ready to welcome the baby. Caring for aging parents, that is a big thing now because our parents are living longer. And I know for my husband and I, we both had to deal with aging parents, and our parents lived out of state from us. So we had to have the conversation. If it got to a point where a parent had to come and live with us, how would that go? Now, my husband was very, very excited about wanting to have my mother to come and live with us. Now, I love my mother, But my mother was just always into something. God rest her soul. She always had something to say. Even when he proposed to me, she said, you sure you want to marry her? And he was like, well, why? Because she is very selfish. Well, if you watch the intro, you saw that was so true. So caring for aging parents, relocation if necessary. You know, sometimes we meet people, you know, in our home places, and or if someone's from another state, are you willing to relocate? That was our situation. My husband was from another state. Well, he lived in another state, but his family lived where I was from. And he wanted me to relocate to where he was. And it took me 3 years to do it because I was just like, going south. South? I don't know. That wasn't in my plan. That was not in my agenda. But you got to have those conversations. And he made that clear because he made it clear that he was not going to stay in the state where I was living. So I had to make a decision. Frequency of sex. It's a conversation that needs to be had. Someone may want it all the time and someone just may want it just a couple of times. Have the conversation and how you're going to work through it. You're not going to step outside the marriage. How are you going to work through it? And raising of the children, discipline. That's key because we all grew up differently and we were disciplined or not disciplined when we were growing up. And so we have an idea of what we want to do with our children. So we have to have those conversations. And I'm just very fortunate because my husband and I, we were on the same page with raising our children. And and so, you know, one of those things that we definitely talked about was, you know, how we would discipline and how we would agree or disagree in the presence of the children. But we'll talk about that in the other video come up that says spouse comes before your children. And so, you know, during this stage, the dating stage, people will show you the part of them that they want you to see. But we got to dig deep into the person that that we're going to be living with, the person that we're going to be spending the rest of our lives with. And just know this, there are always signs. The signs are always there. We choose to ignore them, or we choose to overlook them, or we choose to say, oh, I could get through that. I'll make them change. And we talked about that in an earlier video. No, you can't make another person change. You have to look at that person as they are today, and you make the decision and you say, is this a deal breaker? Can I live with this for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And if you feel that you can't live with it, then the dating era is the time to cut that off. That's why it's so important to know what you will and what you will not do in the early stages of the relationship. If you allow this person to call you names or outside of your name while you're dating, then you can't expect anything to change at year 5 because you walked into that with that. If they're disrespectful, if a woman is disrespectful to you men, she's going to be disrespectful to you down the line. So it's very important that you have this conversation, know what you will and what you will not do. So I thank you for watching this video. I look forward to talking with you again in our next video. And the next one, we're going to talk about spouse comes before your children. You're going to want to watch that one.